Welcome back to Six Survival Diaries. As you all know, it's Velvet, and this episode is called The $100 My Brother Gave Me That Almost Got Me Arrested. I meet people to understand something about family. Sometimes the people closest to you will confidently hand you chaos and act surprised when you're upset about it. And this story, I'll never forget it. I was about 15 or 16 years old, broke, young, and trying to survive teenage life with no money. One day, my older brother calls and says, "Meet me at Finch Mall." Now listen, when your older brother mentions money, you don't ask questions, you just go. So I meet him. We do the usual family greeting, no hugs, no emotional moment, just, yeah, here. And he hands me five $20 bills. $100. At that age, that wasn't money. That was freedom, food, bus fare, a good week. So I'm already making plans. I tell him I'm going to go to the bank and break this into smaller bills. Simple. Or so I thought. I walk into the bank, hand the money to the teller, and ask, "Can I get this changed into smaller bills, please?" She looks at the cash, then looks again, and suddenly the energy changes. She disappears, comes back with someone else, then another person. And now I'm thinking, why is this becoming a staff meeting? Then she asks me to step aside, and immediately I know nobody gets pulled aside in a bank for good news. So I step over, and then she says it. Counterfeit. I swear my brain stopped working because I'm trying to figure out how I went from, "Can you break this 100?" to, "Am I about to get arrested?" They start asking questions. Where did you get it? Who gave it to you? Do you know the person? And I'm standing there thinking, I literally came here for change. That was my entire mission. They keep the money. I leave embarrassed, confused, and honestly a little shaken because grown adults were looking at me like I was involved in something criminal. The second I leave, I call my brother. No answer. I call again. Nothing. Days go by. Still nothing. And now I'm annoyed because there is no universe where I knowingly walk into a bank with counterfeit money. When I finally get a hold of him, I tell him everything. The bank, the questions, the embarrassment. And I'm expecting concern, maybe shock, maybe an apology. Instead, this man starts laughing. Actually laughing. Like I just told him the funniest story he's ever heard. And I'm sitting there thinking, you think this is funny? Because I am not laughing. Then he finally says, "Yeah, I knew." "You knew? You knew? And you still gave it to me?" "Sir, I am your little sister. Why am I the one testing counterfeit money for you?" At that point, I completely lost my patience because it wasn't just what happened. It was the fact that he found it funny. Like I wasn't the one standing there getting questioned. Like I wasn't the one taking the risk. So I let him have it. Full teenage rage. Because how do you give your sister counterfeit money, disappear for days, then laugh about it afterward? And what made it worse? His apology wasn't really an apology. It was basically, "Relax, it wasn't that deep." Not that deep? Sir, I almost got flagged in a bank over 5 fake 20s. What do you mean it wasn't that deep? And to this day, that moment sticks with me. Not because of the $100, because of the lesson. Sometimes betrayal doesn't look dramatic. Sometimes it doesn't come from strangers. Sometimes it comes from somebody you trust handing you a problem and laughing when it lands on you instead of them. And honestly, that was the day I learned not everybody who's helping you is actually helping you. And if you have a story you'd like to share, you can send it to the email in the description. Names, details, and identities can always be changed to keep everything completely anonymous. Because sometimes the stories people carry silently are the ones people need to hear the most. Please be sure to like and subscribe so you can stay connected for all future stories with episode 14, His Underwear Told Me Everything I Needed to Know, releasing June 18th at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Real stories, real survival, real people.